Today I am bringing you a major camera showdown between the iPhone 11 Pro Max and the LG V60. Who's better? Let's find out. If you're looking for tech reviews that give you the information that you actually care about, then hit that subscribe button and be sure to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Both of these phones have some pretty impressive specs and powers behind the camera. Let's take a look at a few pictures I took in different settings and see how these cameras compare. We're gonna do a blind test on this, so you're not gonna know which phone is which until about halfway through, and then I'll let you know. So comment down below which phone you think is which and which one you like better. Oh, and I also took some video with the front-facing cameras as well as the rear-facing cameras. We're gonna break this down to a few categories. Portrait shots will be the first category. That's where you got a lot of bokeh going on in the background, and macro shots. That way you get a sense of how these cameras work close up as well as with the portrait feature. Next one, we'll do daylight shots where we got sun coming in from the front and sun coming in from behind, and see how that lights up the subject or whatever it is I'm taking a picture of. And last but not least, we've got low light and night shots. These might surprise you. They might not. So our first shot here is in the bright sunlight. Obviously we are looking up into the trees and you have the sun coming out from behind. Tried to give it a little bit of a break there, that way you weren't looking directly into the sun. And you'll notice the camera A, while the trees are lit up pretty well, you lose the entire sky. You got some really cool lens flares going on there, but you do lose the sky. Whereas camera B just absolutely killed it, and you got the trees at a nice darker tone. You can still tell what they are. And the sun and the clouds, you can see it all. The dynamic range on this is absolutely phenomenal. Again, these taken at the exact same spot at the exact same time. I gotta give this one the camera B. So even though it was cloudy at this point, it was still extremely bright. Now you look here in camera A, and it's extremely well lit. Even the points there at the corner of the house on the far right side, or the barn, and the trees look really good. Of course, the sky was completely covered, so I don't expect to get a whole lot of definition out of that, but I really like the way this turned out. Camera B was a little bit darker, and again, it's a good picture. I kind of prefer camera A better in this because I feel like it's just a little more truer color, whereas camera B was a little bit darker. I'm not sure exactly what it was trying to focus on here, but same thing, it blew out the sky. The trees are about as green as camera A, maybe a little bit darker. I just felt like it tried to darken the house down a little bit too much. But again, this is all preference. So what do you think? Comment down below which of these pictures might be your favorite. And of course, which might be the iPhone or the V60. This one might be my favorite shot of the day. You got a nice clear sky. This was in a matter of like 20 minutes too. The clouds were just moving like absolute crazy. And in camera A, you've got a nice clean shot, nice and bright. You don't have a super blue sky, but the greens look good. The red on the barn looks good. Camera B, you got a little bluer sky, little warmer colors. And again, this all comes down to preference. So what do you think? I like camera B in my opinion, just that bluer sky. I'm always changing my pictures to have a little bluer sky in it. And this, I don't know if I'd really need to do anything, but camera A, simply just bump up that saturation a little bit, and you look exactly like camera B. So I give this one a toss-up from the fact that they both were really good pictures, and it's easy to edit. This is a test of the front-facing cameras on each device, and for this particular test, what I actually like better is to give you a full screen, but jump back and forth between each video. Now, for me, first thing I notice right off the bat is camera A. What the hell was that? Is way focused in compared to camera B. That's the first thing. Well, I noticed that both are kind of losing the background back there, but you're keeping me in focus, and it's looking pretty good. Let's turn around and see how that handles. It's about the same thing. It's kind of a cloudy day, but really bright. So I thought this was a perfect time to test this compared to having the sun and whatnot out in front of you. But that's a test between the two. Audio as well for these. And we'll talk about in a minute which camera is which. And you know, how they sound, how they look, and how bad I need a haircut. My wife has had, today is gonna be 3 haircuts, or 4 haircuts she's had. I haven't had one in 4 months. 8, February, March, April. So that's the front-facing camera. What do you think? All right, so first and foremost, that footage in Camera A didn't look like that on the device. It looked a little better. Now, it was still blowing out in the background. Both didn't do a good job at all with the background, but they did keep the subject in focus and in color. Well, on the device, Camera A did. What we just looked at, I don't know what that was. I didn't touch the edit. That was raw out of the phone. Well, again, the phone looked better, but you know, that's the funny thing with looking at these on the devices themselves with the screens that they have and whatnot. Sometimes when you get them off, they don't look the same when you're looking at them somewhere else, but that didn't look that good. So I'm going to have to keep messing around with it and see what's going on and maybe do an update down the road. But as far as audio stabilization, I think they both did okay. And dealing with any wind that was in there, I don't think there was much that day. But it did turn out pretty good as far as that goes. But I don't know what's going on with Camera A, so I got to give Camera B the front-facing audio, video, the whole 9 for that. All right, next up, we've got our macro and portrait pictures. First picture here is a dead leaf on a live leaf. Side note here, this was a little lower light area as well, so I think Camera A did a hell of a job keeping it even keel. Camera B, dare I say, it's a little bit of a green-bluish tint on here. It saturated the colors a little bit more. Maybe it had something to do with the lower light. But I wasn't a fan of this. I really liked what Camera A did in this. So I got to give props to Camera A in the lower light portion, or lack of light, I should say, in this shot. What do you guys choose as far as your favorite goes? Keep commenting. I'll be displaying it soon, which is which. Were you right? Find out. This was a little bit weird because when I was taking this picture, the Camera A was telling me to keep stepping back, and this is the shot I got. Camera B, look how beautiful that looks. That looks absolutely awesome, down to the detail. It didn't cut out any of the back part of the flower. Now, Camera B, if you zoom in a little bit, you did lose a little bit of the top corners there, but Camera B just nailed this. This looks absolutely awesome. This is perfect, and I didn't feel like it compromised anything around it. It looks absolutely awesome. Camera B, you definitely won this one in my book. All right, so you watched some front-facing video. We looked at the macro and the portrait, as well as the nice bright sunlight, which is where you're going to be using the camera probably in most of this. Which is your choice? Was Camera A the V60 or the 11 Pro Max? Was Camera B the V60 or the 11 Pro Max? Go ahead and put your guesses in real quick, and here we go. Camera A was the V60, and Camera B was the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Were you right? Go ahead and re-comment down below and let me know if you got it right or not. Or which one you like better. Again, now that I told you, say, you know what, I was looking at it and I thought I really liked this one and this one looked better. I'm surprised that it was this camera or this camera. So, let's do the rear-facing camera, and we got some night and low light shots, which I think you guys are absolutely going to love to see. So let's jump into that. So this is a test of the rear video portions of the phones, as you can obviously see. Stability on these is pretty darn good. I feel like Camera A, or Device A, has a little better stabilization than Device B. Maybe a little more natural on Device B. I don't know. What do you guys think? Colors look good on both. And walking on grass, yeah, I feel like Camera B is a little more wobbly. But then again, is that more natural? Let's flip around to me. You guys get an idea of what someone looks like on these while they're talking, as opposed to just following along and looking. I don't know how they sound, how they look, as far as the quality goes with someone on it, but I do know that the quality going out with both of them looks pretty good. What do you guys think? I might comment after this, just to put my 2 cents in after I watch the footage, but both, so far, so good. And they both look like they have a nice wide view. Well, maybe not. Maybe Camera B is just a little wider because we've got the wood booth thing right there, and it's a little further away. Of course, they are just a bit off. I don't know. I think you might have a little bit more view on Camera B. But that is a test of the rear view camera. I don't know what's going on with the footage on the V60. That rear camera looked better on the phone, and I don't think anyone else ever had an issue with the cameras on that. Gonna have to see if there's a firmware update. Usually it does it automatically or tells me if there's a problem with it, but on the device it looks great. Off the device, not so much. So again, I don't know anyone else that's having that issue, so I'm gonna have to look at those again. And you know, for the time being, I gotta give it to the iPhone for that. As far as stabilization, audio, everything looked good that way. Crop factor, everything looked good as far as getting the shots in. You know, I said in the video the iPhone maybe was just a little wider, but it is what it is, I guess, at that point. But I don't know. I expected better out of this. The camera, I think, did a pretty good job. So I know some people like to take with the regular camera, and sometimes they'll do a 2x zoom. Here's the regular shot. Again, same thing. iPhone's a little bit greener. The V60 is a little bit more natural. You go with the 2x zoom. Both, again, just cropped in. It looks good. Everything's nice and sharp. Coloring stays about the same. I kind of like the V60 here a little bit better as far as the clearness in the background, where you have a little bit of a, I don't know if that's a little bit of unfocusing on the iPhone 11, but you know, I do like the V60 better in this picture. Wide angle, I think they both look good. Again, the iPhone a little bit darker, the whole 9. But I just wanted to give you guys that perspective on those just to see the difference. And so now on to the lower light, almost dark. This was at about 9:30, 9:15 at night, and there was still a little bit of light in the sky. I think both did a really good job. I think the V60 was a 3-second exposure, and the iPhone was just standard 5-second exposure. Both on a handheld tripod, like I just kind of held it down. They were both stabilized on there. So they did give me the 5 seconds I could choose from. And I think both did a pretty good job here. I think the iPhone has a little bit more dynamic range. You can see the cloud cover there, broken up a little bit. And oddly enough, I think a little bit brighter in the trees, whereas most of their pictures were a little bit darker. So not bad on the V60's part. I personally just think the iPhone's looks better. Again, more dynamic range in the clouds, giving you a little bit more to look at. So on to the pitch black shots. These were about 10:30 at night. And the V60 just is unusable. It literally looks like it's a density filter turned all the way up to black, and you have a sun coming in from the right side hitting on the beam there. Whereas the iPhone, still unusable, but I didn't let it go for the 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds that it is able to do at night. I just kept it at the 5 seconds, 5 or 10 seconds, whatever the V60 did. I think it was 5 seconds. So the iPhone could definitely pick up a lot more. So I gotta say, if I was looking at the stuff on the phones, the devices would be really close. I think I would still give it to the iPhone, just as far as the overall capabilities of the camera and the video on that. You can shoot 64 megapixels on here, and the camera's no slouch on this. Video, when I started taking it off and moving it, didn't have that problem with the iPhone putting it on a device and sharing it. So I'm gonna do some more testing on this. I'll update you guys when I do the review. I'm just a little shaken by that. Again, I want to keep testing it and see what's going on. But like I said, I got to give it to the iPhone. You know, probably one of the best cameras out there, and it can go up against the big boys any day of the week. I'm super excited to see what they got with the 12 coming out, or the 11S, whatever they decide to do. So if you enjoyed that and you want to check out my other video I did with the iPhone SE 2020 versus the iPhone 8, there it is. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You guys take it easy and have a good day. Done. All right. I'm not going to look at my watch because some people are making fun of me looking at my watch. I'm not looking at it.